Stakeholders. Of course, it's Aaron Kaufman, Chief Stakeholder Evangelist out of Atlanta, Georgia. And guys, cannot tell you how excited I am today to talk to one of my longtime favorite KW peeps and fellow KW Atlanta agent, Mr. Merrill Johnson. How you doing today, sir?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you so much for spending the day with a little time with us today, this morning. Look, before we jump into all the amazing stuff that you've been able to accomplish at KW through profit share and recently through ownership of the KW West Atlanta office, I want to kind of go back, Merrill, and just talk about your story. Let's go back to when you weren't at KW. Let's find out what your background was, what brought you to KW, how you joined, and then we'll just kind of go from there, man. All right?
Cool. Well, first of all, thanks for having me on. I've been watching your series and have been enjoying the previous people that have appeared. So I was honored to be included.
And I love your shirt. You know, I love that T-shirt too, by the way. I'm starting to wear mine.
What else?
I'm teaching the next 3 days, and I only got 3 of them, so I got to keep them fresh. All right, but love that you're showing up with that.
Right. Well, my KW story kind of goes like this. I was at another company, and the person who was one of my good friends was a rock star at the time. His name is Kevin Jordan.
Okay.
And Kevin Jordan at the time was the #1 agent in our board at that time. And I was brand new. And, that was just my buddy. Back then, I'll tell you, to be honest, I used to smoke cigarettes. And that was my smoking buddy. So when he went to smoke, I went to smoke.
Yeah.
And so I learned about Keller Williams over a cigarette.
Now, he was at your existing company, is that correct?
He was at my then company. That's correct.
So he was looking at KW, and it kind of was feeding you information about it?
Well, he had been tapped to become part of the ownership group at Cityside. Nice. So he was leaving, and he knew he was leaving, and this is when he shared that with me.
Nice.
So his leaving was a huge thing at the time, and it was just a big deal. And at the time, I had 19 listings in my first year. Can you believe that?
Holy
I had 19 listings.
Incredible.
And at that time, when you left another brokerage, they would not give you your listings.
Right, of course.
So it almost was like a coup. I had to decide, am I going to go? Because this is the thing, that company did not have a cap.
Right.
So in my first year at that company, I gave them $77,000.
Wow.
So when I heard about KW with the 18,000, it was a no-brainer. I mean, instantly.
Yeah.
Because that would have been an immediate $59,000 raise.
Absolutely.
For me. So I knew that I was going to go the moment that I heard about it, but I was not going to forfeit 19 listings.
Incredible.
And so I had to really create a plan. So I extended every one of those listings to expire on the same day.
Nice.
And that's how I had to really escape.
So you had to let every listing expire. Then you left, went to KW, and then what? Re-upped?
I relisted. Well, I had all the paperwork filled out in advance.
Yeah.
I had ordered signage. I did everything. So I left and did it that way. So because Cityside at that time, so my new market center, the Atlanta West Market Center, we just got finished incubating.
Yeah.
When I came to Cityside at that time, they were incubating.
Gotcha.
So this process has been really interesting because I've been through it before, not as an owner, but as an agent. And I remember, that process. So when they launched, I want to say Cityside was not profitable for 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had recruited agents to the previous company as well. I just didn't get paid for it.
Right.
And there were people that came from my real estate class, and I was like, well, I'm going over here. You should come. And they did. And so when I decided to leave there and go to KW Cityside, of course, they came with. So I came and I joined with these people. And again, it was about 6 months before Cityside took a profit. So I was used to not, getting anything, but I had recruited the people. So my very first profit sharing check was $1,300.
Wow.
That got my,
Amazing.
because by the time that 6 months rolled by and they shared profits,
Yeah.
it was a big splash. And then that was 2003. So December will be my 20th year with Keller Williams.
Hey, that's when I joined Merrill, right?
Right.
2003. I know you know Mahogany Rhodes, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's
She
my
was there. She was there when
yeah.
I came.
Well, no,
Yes.
I always, she's got a great line that I've stolen from her, but I always give her a shout out on it. She says, "Look, we're on the third generation of KW, right? And
Right.
a lot of people that don't know what it's like to join KW when we are Keller Who, right? Or when we're this
Oh,
emerging
well,
company, right?
well, if you remember, we
Yeah.
all were one big entity. It was Keller Williams Realty Independent Member Broker is what
Yep.
the signage
Yep.
said. And there were no franchise names.
Exactly. Who
So
was
I
who was the ownership group of Cityside? I know your friend was a part of that, but is that a part of a bigger group or now?
oh,
Or
that was the Rawls.
oh, the
That was
Rolls Group.
before it
Okay,
was
right.
the Rawls Group. It
Yeah,
was
that's what I
not the
thought.
Rawls
That's what I
Group.
thought.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think that might have been the second office, but
yeah,
so it was exciting times then. And just like we just secured a building, I can remember when they didn't have a building. My first interview, I went to the flagship at
yeah.
First Atlanta. That's where my meeting was
That's
because
great.
that's where they were incubating. So it's so interesting because I was attracted to profit sharing and that whole thing and ownership because my good friend Kevin Jordan
Yeah,
came in with the ownership opportunity. So I always had an awareness of it
absolutely.
coming in the door, different than I think the average agent does.
Well, let me go back here for a second. It sounds like you joined KW because of the cap, right? I mean, that was basically
Mhm.
that was the main thing for you. And I know you're not mentioning the previous company you were at. Do you want to mention it just so I can have an idea?
Well, well, it was Coldwell Banker,
Yeah, me too.
and
Me too. Yeah,
I now let me say this about my broker, Jackie Tracy is her name.
yeah.
I met her at Wednesday Wine Down at a park. We were out enjoying some wine and I met her. We weren't even there for real estate, but someone mentioned that she happened to be the broker at Coldwell Banker. Neither one of us had a business card. I said, well, I'll come and I'll get together with you.
Yeah.
And she really, I did that. I went and met with her. She brought me in. She was amazing. And I do not negate that part of my process.
Absolutely.
And I always say, when I was in first grade and then I went to second and third grade, those did not negate first grade.
I love that.
All of it was part of my
I love that.
education.
I love
And
that.
I would not trade those moments at Coldwell Banker at all because I got a foundation there that
Absolutely.
prepared me. And I'm happy that I had something besides Keller Williams. Sometimes I meet agents that have never been anywhere else. And I think sometimes they don't have the same appreciation
Exactly.
because they don't really have anything to compare it to.
I mean, you stole my words. I was literally about to say that, Merrill. I say all the time in my class, if all you know is Keller Williams, you're at a little bit of a disadvantage because ultimately you don't really know how good you got it, really, until you've been in another
Hmm.
company. And I wouldn't trade my time at Caldwell Banker and Northside Realty for
Hmm.
the world, man. It gave me the perspective. It gave me something to compare my experiences at KW to. And I just love the fact, Merrill, that you came out of a Rawls Group office. I mean, I
Oh,
would
yeah.
I wouldn't be here today if I wasn't in a Rawls Group office. I mean, I had to experience Keller Williams the way it was supposed to be experienced first. So, I mean, obviously you came here, let's just say initially for the money, okay, for the cap. But tell me about what your feelings were once you joined KW. And by the way, did you understand profit share? I mean, did you have a sense of what it was before you joined
Well,
KW?
I did. So my background, was in accounting and finance. I'd
Yeah,
been a CFO prior. So
yeah,
I absolutely understand everything about the dollars and cents and the numbers. So what I did not know being in, Coldwell Banker, I did not have an awareness of Sean Rawls. I
yeah,
didn't know who he was.
yeah,
And he was just a major player in the industry at that time
yep.
and still is. And I know there's no way he could have known me either. but I'll tell you, he made me feel like he knew me.
Yeah.
Every time I was in his presence, and there's no way he could have known my name.
Yeah.
But he made me feel like he knew my name. And I felt, I don't know, I just felt something there.
Yeah.
And I was at Keller Williams before I was there with Camp 443.
Yep.
So as a lot of the education, like prior to Bold, prior to Ignite, prior to all of these things, I was there before the green sheet, when it was a blue sheet. And, so I've been through all of that. And I've just watched this company. And now what we didn't know is that it was going to be what it is today. Now, I had no idea that I was joining something like that. And I remember Kevin tried to get me to go to the first family reunion that I would have been a part of. And I believe it was in Amelia Island. So it was that small that it was going to be in Amelia Island, Georgia. I think there were just a few thousand people. And I thought, what is this weird thing? Family reunion? They're calling. I'm not related to them. What are they talking about? I didn't understand. And I didn't go.
Right.
I said, Lord, is this a cult?
Well, it's funny you say that, Merrill, because, when, I actually went to my first family reunion in 2005, and Sean Rawls came to me and he said, look, we have a recruit that's backed out at the last second, and we would love to take you. And I was
wow.
I don't think I want to go. Like, they were going to pay for me to go.
Wow.
I was like, I don't want to go. All I ever saw about family reunion was people with red Afro wigs and people waving flags. And I was like, look, I'm not a rah-rah guy. I don't really get that part of KW. I never participated in profit share, didn't really understand that aspect of it. And I told Sean, look, I'm not going to go. And he said, you're going, and we're paying for you to go. And that's when my life changed. I went and saw Gary Keller speak, and then my life took off, launched my recruiting website. But, I interviewed Sean a couple of weeks ago, and that was I
saw that.
Yeah, it was such an important interview for me because, we talk about like the Sean Rawls KW tree and all the amazing people that have come out of the Rawls group. I mean, Leslie and Andy Peters were brand new agents in my office at Peachtree Road, So, look, we all agree. And this is what I love about the circle of life for you. Okay. I have no doubt KW West Atlanta is going to, it's already crushing it. I see you guys growing unbelievably quick, but Merrill, they have you, right? Are you the OP essentially? Or
no, I am not the OP.
Yeah.
Gabby Maddox Davis is our amazing OP.
Sure.
She is just so vibrant, full of energy, great ideas. She also loves Keller Williams and also launched her career in KW First Atlanta.
Amazing.
So she was a part of the Rawls group as well. And just a lot of great things happened there. And I believe that I just was set up for nothing but success by being a part of this group. I don't know how 20 years has gone by. I absolutely have. I've come into something that I absolutely love. Yeah. And yes, I was attracted to the profit sharing component. I didn't know that I would be like this, with it. And it has just been an amazing thing. I remember, getting that $1,300 check. And in 2003, that was like a lot of money at one time. And for many years, I incorporated that profit sharing, which pretty much happened every month after that. There have not been many months that I didn't get a profit sharing check. But I incorporated that into my operating money and used it to supplement my income. And then at a certain point, that money started to really, because they keep track of how much it is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, this is starting to be some real money. I better stop spending this because I'm starting to waste it. I felt like I was wasting it.
Yeah.
And so I committed to not touch it anymore.
Wow.
And ever since then, and I don't even remember when it was, but ever since then, I don't spend it. I invest it in my children's names.
I love that.
And my grandson.
And Merrill, there's a lot, there are a couple of months that, you beat me and
I don't think
no,
so.
you do know, but you have bigger months than me, which is look. I mean, mine is deep and it's new agent built. It's all around the company, right? So a lot of my downlines in California and Arizona and off, areas that are not super profitable yet. But I mean, look, I'm excited, Merrill. I mean, I'm excited when people beat me in a month because that makes me realize that there are other people out there that are as vested as I am in KW. And look, what I love about you, and we're about to talk about this, is that you're not an internet recruiter. We talked years ago about
Yes,
trying to get you to do it. And
right,
you were kind of like, you know what? It's not really me. I'm a relationship guy. So I want to
right.
kind of dive into how you attract. I mean, obviously you attract people, Merrill, by being an amazing human being, a great agent that people respect. But I want to talk a little bit more about the intentionality around it, right? Like, talk about how you're purposeful about attracting people to KW. Obviously, you brought some people over initially. That's probably had, a compound effect over time. But since then, talk about how you're purposeful about profit share and what you do to be intentional about it.
Well, I think one of the best things that I really do is to just try to be a decent person
Yeah.
before anything else. And, I'm not an agent first, I'm me first. And
Love
so I try when I'm doing a transaction, no matter who it is, if it's some legendary person in real estate, or if I can tell from their license number that they're 6 months into it, I still try to treat them with the same sort of respect.
Absolutely.
I've heard over the years people will complain maybe sometimes about the newer agents or people that are at other companies, and as soon as you receive her, you can tell, oh my goodness, this person has had no training. Instead of like beating them down, that's an opportunity for me.
Absolutely.
So if I can help them and if I can offer them, support so that we both get through this transaction, they're going to remember that. And if I can teach them on the other side, those are just opportunities for me to win them over and to maybe help support them,
Yeah.
into doing this. And I did not know 20 years ago that I also was going to be opening this market center today. So I think there have been all of those opportunities like that for these 20 years that have prepared me to have the relationships with people that when we were, because I'm the controlling partner in this group under my OP, and it makes it easier to have those conversations when people think well of you.
Exactly. And Merrill, the message I hear from what you're saying is it's not always about recruit, right? Sometimes they're not ready to receive or the opportunity's not there, but it's the long game, right? And I bet
Oh, yes.
a lot of these people that you are bringing into the KW West Atlanta office are people that you've, backed off of trying to recruit over the years, but just dove in deeper into stronger relationships and things like that, right?
There are people that have never come to Keller Williams
Yeah.
and may never come that
Yeah.
I have entertained for 5-6 years,
Sure.
and still have ongoing conversations. They'll come to training events, they'll come and support. We're about to have our grand opening. I'm sure some of them will be there,
Yep.
and they wish me well, and they have no desire, and I know they have no desire. And then there have been some people that have surprised me who have come
Interesting.
and have just listened and watched and seen the consistency. And they also are watching some of our agents. Now, what's interesting with this new office is almost all of the agents are from other brokerages or brand new.
Mm-hmm.
And so they don't know who Diana Kokoska is and Gary Keller and all the legendary names at Keller Williams. And really, they don't care. What they know is that our investment group and our leadership are pouring in support and education to them. And at a time when the market is shifting and others are saying things are slow, it is not slow at KW West. And we've got new agents and dual career agents that are capping, and they feel that support. And what's happening, they are going and doing the recruiting.
I love it. Yeah.
So it's amazing because they know what was happening before, And now they see, wow, with these tools that we're being equipped with, this is happening for us. So they're our biggest, cheerleaders. And so they're going out and just telling their story. And they're not necessarily talking about people. They're just talking about what's happening with them and with their businesses.
I love that. And this is 100% minority owned market center?
No, we're majority minority owned.
Yeah.
And we're majority, like almost 100%.
Yeah.
But I think there's 6 of us.
Great.
And but it is a huge opportunity. Never before has there been that much of a majority ownership.
Exactly.
Minority ownership in the state of Georgia, I don't believe.
It's amazing.
And that's wonderful, and we love the opportunity. And yet our focus is on helping these agents, whomever they are, wants to come. We're ready to work.
Right. You want to limit yourself, obviously, right? I mean, it happens to be a majority of minority owners, but it doesn't define what you guys are doing there.
Absolutely.
Do you want to talk about a little bit just the moment we're in as a company, as far as diversity, equity, and inclusion, and what people like Julia Lachey are doing, and
oh my Lord,
support you got locally to make this happen? Because it's not always having the opportunity to open up a market center isn't always an opportunity that people get, but obviously the path that you've been on for 20 years and growing your profit share tree and building that credibility, not just with other agents, but with the leadership in Atlanta and the Southeast region. Talk a little bit about that and what that means to you and your ownership group, Yeah.
Well, I'll say this to you. Actually, this is my 3rd ownership opportunity.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
It is. And it's so funny when we have these talks. I learned a lot about you and Sean's relationship from watching that interview.
Sure.
The amazing Jennifer Barnes, who also was in Peachtree Road.
Yeah, I love her.
Gosh, maybe 2006 approached me and she was the OP at the South Fulton Market Center at the time.
Interesting.
And she hired me, and I did a season there as the team leader under her leadership. And she was and still is amazing, and has always just been a ball of energy and support for me. And that time, Jennifer and I got along famously, and it was just a wonderful ride. I missed the transaction with the people. I loved the agents. I enjoyed the job. I think I was good at it, but I didn't love it with the same sort of passion that I do the actual real estate transactions. And so shortly, let me see, she also shifted gears, and that is when she sold her shares to Rick Hale. And stepped down as the OP. She still has significant ownership interest in that market center, as do I. And there was even another market center that we attempted to launch in Clayton County that did not make it. The school system lost their accreditation, and there was just a lot of drama, and it was just not a good, the timing was terrible, and it just wasn't a good, probably lineup of people. It just didn't happen. And so we made the decision to close it. And so having had that failure, I look at Oprah Winfrey, and she talks about when she did that movie Beloved, and it was a huge flop, and everybody just bashed her. And even when she launched the OWN network, sometimes your biggest lessons are learned when something doesn't work. No doubt. So there were lessons about that I bring into this current situation. Even though none of the other people were a part of it, I still can remember things that were done that should not have been done the way they were done. So, I did have that opportunity, and, I'm very thankful. Mike Ray, who has gone on to bigger and better things, was previously our regional director, absolutely had everything to do with us receiving this opportunity. And I think that the whole equity and inclusion piece that happened during the George Floyd murder and the position that Gary Keller took,
Yep.
and the letter that he wrote, and the energy that he had around that. And, he said, it's not enough that I am not racist, but
I
I've
know.
got to be anti.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
so I think that he did take some steps by amending the Y4C2Ts,
Sure.
and to make space for things like there to be opportunities for everyone,
Absolutely.
because there probably had not been. And so I'm thankful for this opportunity, because 20 years in, Aaron, I'll be 60 in June.
You
So
look good, Merrill.
uh,
You look good, man.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So you've got to begin to think about what your next thing is going to be.
Right.
And as much as I have given some thought to that, I still enjoy the real estate transaction, and my business still feeds me like amazingly well. And each year continues year over year to
Yeah.
even be better than the last. And it's because of the systems and the things that I've learned at this company.
No doubt.
Let's be honest, any of us at this point could have left ages ago with what we already know, like many people have, and
Yep.
go start my own thing, and not be a part of a franchise. But I don't need to reinvent the wheel. Everything that I need is already here, and this is a copycat business. So I
Exactly.
can take this recipe and I can stir up a nice dish, and we can all eat.
Exactly. And I always you dropped so many great nuggets in what you just said there, Merrill. I always go back to a couple of things. One is, we've spawned off our greatest competition. Okay. A lot of our greatest competition came from KW. And, I think Gary is proud of that, right? Like, I mean, Merrill, you can't have an abundant mindset like Gary, teach agents how to be bigger than you are, and then be upset when they leave. And so KW will always be creating our competition, because we're the most abundantly thinking company that's training based, and we're going to teach people how to go out there and do it themselves if they decide they want to. But I think you and I both know, especially coming out of Atlanta and being in business with some of the greatest minds in this company, who are the most abundant people in our company, that there's so much more with KW and with these relationships than we could ever do outside of KW. And why would we, like you said, why would I want to reinvent the wheel? And we're both hugely vested financially in the success of KW. And I don't care what policies just passed. I was never going to leave KW in the first place. All right. But I think, where I'm trying to get at, Merrill, is that, when you go back 20 years ago and you think about joining KW, you came here for the cap. I did the same thing. I came here for the money, didn't understand profit share, didn't understand how the culture was different. And then there's a great saying at KW, right? It's not just about what you get, it's about who you become. And I don't think either one of us could have imagined the journey that we've been on over the last 20 years. That doesn't even have to do with selling real estate. And
For sure.
And what I'm trying to do, Merrill, when I go around teaching, is I'm trying to share the experience that we've had in Atlanta, the number one market of KW, in the Southeast region, the number one region of KW, in a top ownership group like the Rawls Group or the Heart of Atlanta Group. I want people to understand that there's more to this, but it takes a village, right, Merrill? It takes a village. It takes not just great ownership, it takes great leadership, and it takes the agents to buy into that. So let me ask you this. How are you taking this 20 years of experience, and how are you trying to galvanize the people at West Atlanta to kind of buy into something bigger? I know you're focusing on helping these people sell houses, and they're having success, and they're becoming raving fans for West Atlanta, but how do you have the conversation about profit share as a catalyst for culture in an office that's not yet profitable yet? How are you finding that conversation is being had in your office, and how are you affecting that conversation so that people get it sooner rather than later?
Well, I can tell you this, to the point that you made previously about the people who have gone on and are now the biggest competition.
Yeah.
I can remember being a team leader at South Fulton, and Andrew Doyley was my number one agent at the time. and he had a desire to depart and to
Yeah.
go and launch his own brokerage. And if you are a leader anywhere and there's no one following you, you're not a leader.
Right.
That's the first thing. And as a leader, there will be times that you have to release people, and because they have grown beyond where they're going to be with you.
Yeah.
And I had to do that with him. And it was never easy to say, farewell to people.
Yeah.
But I learned how to do that and to still allow people to have dignity and to leave with my blessing and well wishes. And many times I see people not do a good job of that, leaders. And
Yeah.
sometimes I see them take it personally. And I released him. And there were times that he actually would invite me to come over to teach
Mm.
in his brokerage. And he would pay me to come
Yeah.
and teach
It's amazing.
in his brokerage. And I would never come and mention Keller Williams to his agents. And I would ask him, what do you want me to share? Whatever subject matter, I would go and do that. And we've always had an amazing relationship, never knowing that I would tap his shoulder one day about the opportunity to come and partner with us. So he's part of our investor
Oh,
group.
wow. I love that.
So
Yeah.
who knew that
Yeah.
he would even be back? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, well,
That's
yeah.
why
I mean, you never know. You never, right. You never
no.
know why they left, what's going on in their lives. Sometimes they have to experience the
They
grass
do.
is greener on the other side before they realize, wait a second, it's only greener because they're fertilizing it, over there, or whatever I don't know what the saying is. But the point is, when they come back and you maintain
Right.
that relationship, right? What a great circle of life that is, right?
I love everything about that story.
Yeah,
And
that's amazing.
he does too. And so I appreciate all of that. And if you burn bridges and you have these, rocky departures, you don't leave space for there to be this, coming home again.
Incredible.
So I love that piece. And then, with regard to our agents that are there, first of all, our office, if not for some of these initial startup, we have to buy every piece of furniture and computer and everything. If not for that, we are moving in a very profitable posture. So we probably will profit share next month.
Amazing. And
So
you launched when? You guys
August.
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 Wow.
Mhm.
That's incredible, man. That's
August. And so Gabby Maddox is very, very, she's amazing with regard to, first of all, it's a good thing that we're starting this during a time when the market is shifting.
Yeah.
There were murmurs about, oh, I probably wouldn't start this now because things shifted as soon as we were getting started.
Yeah.
And it's really good that we started during this time because we're very, very careful with our
I
expenses.
love that.
And we are just down and dirty with lead gen and all of the things that are keeping us in production.
I love that.
So we are not feeling any of that at all. In fact, our agents are defying it. And so it's not hard. We don't really do a whole hard press about profit sharing because when you're talking about the value that we give, that sells.
That's
We
amazing.
don't have to talk about it. We have not talked about it a lot at all, to be honest with you. And but
Well,
the agents feel the value, and so they're talking about the value, and so they are going to start to receive those profit sharing checks probably starting next month.
amazing.
Our grand opening is in November, and we've made decisions about what that needs to look like. We could have a whole big splashy thing, and it's going to be very nice, but we could also not waste a lot of money on a party too.
Yeah.
And so that we can be careful going through the lean months of the winter. So
Well, and Merrill, I talk about this all the time. I mean, look, this shift has been difficult. It came right on the back of a pandemic. But for those of us that are really purposeful about growing KW, or people that are in ownership, the people that I talk to, they're pretty excited about the moment. Merrill, last time I checked, we were born in a shift. KW took over the entire industry in the last shift. And look, I kind of have a feeling we're about to redefine the industry in this present shift. And look, agents need training. They need support. They need culture. They need models in a shift so much more than when the market's up. I mean, when the market's up, people just stick their signs in sellers' yards and they sell. It's when the market shifts down that agents have to look at their businesses like business owners. They need training, support. And look, the great thing about what you're doing there, Merrill, is that, look, profit share is not the driver for this market center right now. Okay, now someday as you guys blow up and become one of the most profitable market centers in KW, I have a feeling that profit share will become a bigger part of your story. But the fact is, you are building this market center through purpose, through community. And I think the foundation that you're going to have built by the time this market comes back, I mean, the next jump you're going to make when the market shifts back is going to be exponential. And I'm super excited about having a chance to come to your office and actually teach your people about profit share, even though it's not the focus of the office. I think, you guys are right on the brink of being profitable. So that I'm hoping that'll be a big turnout and a lot of energy there, because I can't wait to pour into your office in, I think, a month or two when we're doing that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, let me say this. I think our agents trust what we bring to them. They show up in numbers.
Yeah.
And it is just the energy around that. Like you talked earlier about not being so driven about the transactions.
Yeah.
And talked about the culture. I can remember in the first year that I was with Keller Williams, the culture, it was new to me. And again, at Coldwell Banker, I had friends there.
Sure.
In fact, many of them are in KW.
Right.
That started with me. In fact, a lot of them are. And in fact, that Coldwell Banker office really doesn't even exist anymore. It's closed.
Yep.
And most of those agents came to Keller Williams. And so I always had friends in real estate, just like you have anywhere else you work.
Sure.
But this happened in the first year, and I'll never forget it. We launched and we were at our team meeting, and one of the agents who was a part of the office at the time had a sister, I believe, in California who was murdered in a domestic violence situation. And suddenly this young lady agent was going to now inherit the children of that deceased sister. And so it was Christmas time. And of course, this girl was nowhere near equipped for something like that. And so that was the first time I experienced KW Cares. And so KW Cares kicked in and financed all of that transition, those children's Christmas. Wow. And they presented that to her during a team meeting, and there was not a dry eye in the room. So to know that Keller Williams, supports its agents during times of hardship, that you can apply for a grant, and to actually have seen that really months after I came to the company, certainly I did not see that elsewhere.
Well, Merrill, and who funds KW Cares?
Well, the agents do, and it's a it's a nonprofit that you can choose to contribute to out of your commissions. But it's for agent hardships. And again, we haven't talked a lot about that like we used to either. So I'm excited about being able to talk back about, because we've grown so large that some of those things that were at the core sometimes get kind of left behind. Even during family reunion, in my opinion, it used to recognize the hardships that were being handled through KW Cares from the agents. Now it's gotten to be so big and global, and we're taking care of hurricanes, and all of those things are important too. But when the times that you have agents donating organs to someone in their office and that sort of stuff, I mean, it's amazing what I've seen with the company.
Well, and look, and this goes back to what Mahogany Road said about the third generation of KW, right? I mean, we've grown so quickly and so big that a lot of our stories and a lot of our, conversations around culture have had a hard time keeping up with it. And, I talk to people about, mega relief or what happened in Des Moines, Iowa, or I was just in Fort Myers 2 weeks ago teaching this class, Merrill. Hurricane Ian rolled through Fort Myers a year ago. I was supposed to be teaching during that hurricane. They obviously postponed my class, but I love nothing more than to going into a town like Fort Myers or Joplin, Missouri, where an F5 tornado leveled our agents' homes, or going back to Houston, or going to New Orleans after Katrina, and seeing people in my class crying, right? And I always tell people when I'm in a town that hasn't had one of these things happen, look, I'm not wishing for this to happen to you, but when something like this happens, ask our KW Maui associates what it's like to be a part of a global real estate company of 200,000 stakeholders that are vested in their success and their comeback. I mean, there's something different about KW culture. And what I love what you're doing there in West Atlanta, Merrill, is that they don't even know, man. They don't even know yet. Like, you're building this office on love and abundance and training and support. Just wait until you start rolling in profit share, culture at a high level as far as them understanding it. I mean, the sky's going to be the limit. But I think the key is, Merrill, is that, sometimes we take it for granted being in Atlanta. Okay. Like, we just assume everybody gets it, right? Everybody just gets it because they're in Atlanta, or they're in the Southeast region. And I think that's what gets me really excited about KW right now, is that, man, there is so much room for improvement just within our own company. I mean, less than 30% of our agents participate in profit share. I think I saw something at Family or Mega Camp that said only 17% of our associates donate to KW Cares through the command, right? Like, think about how much bigger all of that could be if we started to really lean into the conversations around profit share and how it's the catalyst for culture. I think people don't understand, until you face something like a personal tragedy or a natural disaster, I don't think you fully get how unique the KW culture really is. Yeah.
It's amazing, Aaron. There was a young man, he's very sharp. His name was Parnell, and he's someone that actually one of my clients said, you should meet him. He's in real estate and he's already doing well. And I think under your tutelage, he would really flourish. And so I met him, took him to dinner, and we met, and he's a sharp young guy. And I just was excited, and I was going to spend time and try to recruit him over.
Yeah.
And this was during the pandemic, the beginning of it. And my father passed during that time, and I got distracted. Some things went on, and some months went by, and I didn't follow up with him.
Sure.
And I noticed on his social media, he posted that he was diagnosed with cancer. And he still was at that competing company. Probably more than a year went by, and this guy, he was in his 30s, struggled, with cancer. He couldn't work. He lost where he was living. That company never even passed a card around the office and collected, money from the aid. They never sent a thing. And my heart broke. There were times that I was like, here, they did GoFundMe deals for him. I contributed to those. It got so bad. He had to leave Atlanta. He wasn't from here. And so to see him suffer, and unfortunately he passed away. And the last time I spoke with him, I said, please give me your mom's number, because I knew it was getting close.
Yeah.
And I wanted to not just find out on a Facebook post. So he did. He gave me his mom. That was the last time we communicated. He texted me his mom's number. And he did pass away, and nothing, he still probably was going to pass away, but still the journey to the end might have been different if he had been here. At least there would have been some support. It wouldn't have been so grave.
Sure.
And I hated that. I just hated that. And nothing ever happened with the other company. And they probably I don't know what happened, but my heart broke.
Well, it's not that they're bad people, right? It's just
No,
the
no,
industry has just always been kind of an independent contractor industry, right? And like,
right.
there are nice people at every company. There are people that are willing to buy into teamwork. But there's no incentive, right? They're just good people. And I think that's where, I'm really trying to make people understand that there's something inherently different about
Mhm.
KW and our culture. And what I love, Merrill, is that it starts with profit share. And I know that that sounds for some people a little weird when you say our culture starts with profit share, okay? Because culture is so much more complex and deeper than just receiving profit share and being financially vested in each other's success. But it starts is the catalyst for the culture you build on top of it. And I think, look, at KW, it's not just about, making profit share. It's about having a say, right, in the direction of our company. It's about, making KW add equity to our Y4C2Ts. It's
Right.
about being able to look at the books. It's about being a part of a company that's fighting for the future of your profession and having a real incentive to work together and care about each other. And look, Merrill, not every KW office is created equal. Okay.
They're not.
Have an inherent culture for KW, but if you don't have the people in that office buying into it, well, then it's not maybe the same thing that it is in an office where people get that. But I think making people understand that there's a reason why you should buy into our culture more at KW than at another company. I think that's the true secret sauce of KW, particularly at a time when we're under assault from, virtual rev share companies that are saying that they're KW and that they're just a better version. It's like, look, rev share doesn't create culture. Okay. A virtual market center probably is going to have a harder time creating culture than a KW market center. And I will fight till the day I die. There is no other company in this industry that even holds a candle to the inherent culture that KW has. And I know why. It's because we are stakeholders and we have an incentive to work together and care about each other. And I think that's the message that I'm trying to share around KW is that when you buy into that, your life is so much bigger. And this company can really make a true impact, in your agents' lives and your community. Yeah.
Well, I think you're right about that. And, as you mentioned earlier, as we are rolling out this new office, we made the decision not to form the ALC just yet.
Yeah.
And the ALC is the Agent Leadership Council. And at Keller Williams, the top 20% in their production is eligible to participate in what we would call a board of directors, really, along with the team leader to help make decisions for the benefit of that office. This company is an open book company. And when we do roll out the ALC and start having those meetings, it's going to be important for me to remind people, because I think this also has got pushed by the wayside, that those meetings are open to everyone. And every person is invited to come at the opening of the books on a monthly basis and see and participate and hear what has gone on. And they don't get to vote and talk and whatever, but they are able to be present at those meetings to know exactly what's going on with the office. And you're not invited into those meetings anywhere else.
Right.
So I think the fact that, that is something that is available is huge. And even there have been people that have said, oh, I'm going to start my own brokerage. I said, well, you should probably do a year or two on an ALC to know what it is like to keep
That's
books.
a great point. I love that.
Before you do that, you should be on the ALC for a few years so that you can learn how we do this so successfully before you go do it with your money.
Merrill, that's genius, man. I've never heard somebody say that before, but that is absolutely genius, right? Hey, let us help you get prepared for that moment,
right?
Knowing that probably being on the ALC will elevate their opinions about KW and their opportunities with this company. That's genius.
Right.
That's genius. All right, so look, we got a couple minutes left. I could talk to you all day, Merrill. Okay, literally.
You too.
No, but I want to kind of go back. So look, talk about let's just go back and finish this with profit share. Like, let's talk about how many people you sponsored. I don't know if you know your numbers, how many people are in your tree, how much have you earned so far? I'm just curious because you're not just some guy that's dabbled in profit share. I want you to share your numbers, Merrill, because they're real and they're impressive. Okay.
So, sure. So, I have probably had as many people or more that I've attracted to the company over the years to actually leave and go on to other things too.
Yep.
And so those numbers are over 600 in terms of total recruits that have come.
Now, you've sponsored them, or does that include people you recruited when you were a team leader?
No, to be honest with you, I'm different as a team leader. I really didn't put those people in my tree as a team leader.
Yeah.
I can name just a few, I mean, very few people, because I never wanted the agents to think that I was taking the people.
Sure.
I wanted to give those opportunities to the agents, and I did. Now, there were some people that I just know this person, and this is my friend, and this is my person. Those were the ones that I did, but most people coming know 4 or 5 agents. I'm not going to be the one to hard sell them. I didn't do that.
Well, no, let me stop you there for a second too. So first of all, look, I love that. It's an abundant mindset. I mean, obviously leadership has the opportunity to build their profit trees, and we want them, we want talent to be vested in KW profit share. But look, thinking like the CEO of a business, which is what the team leader is, look, you realize the more of our agents that are participating in profit share, probably the more of them will buy into culture, the less likely they will leave, and the stronger the foundation of this office will be for generations moving forward, right? But certainly you have the right to build your downline, but you felt like I want to grow it through my agents when those opportunities happen, which is why you're who you are, man. Is that abundant mindset has, obviously bled through all aspects of your life, and it's why you are where you are today.
I wanted them to trust me, you know, and I just
what a crazy idea, trust.
Currently, and I saw you posted that those numbers updated. You have to show me where the update is. I never know where that is. But currently, I have 240 active people in my entire tree. There are about 50 people in my first line.
Yep. Wow.
And probably about 3 years ago, I finally reached the full 7 levels.
Yeah.
So so that has been built out the whole time now. And so what is happening now that I am a controlling partner at Atlanta West, I am very much recruiting and attracting people from other companies and bringing them over. So the tree is definitely growing. And by the end of the year, I will cross over the 300,000 mark. So I'm going to say it may have taken me 13 years. And, we went through those lean years after the market crash to get to 6 figures. And then it took me 2 years to get to the next 6 figures.
Yep.
Isn't that amazing?
It is.
And so we're now going above 300,000 in terms of lifetime profit share. Incredible. And again, these are all people that I have had conversations with and have made relationships with, and they have come over. So I'm real proud of it. And I love profit share for what it can do. Again, I save this money for my children and my grandchildren I only have one grandson, but whomever. And it's set aside and invested for them. And I absolutely do not touch it.
Amazing. And I can't wait to see once this West Atlanta office starts going up and up with the profitability, what happens to your profit share. But I think it's probably fair to say, Merrill, you've earned more in profit share than you just invested in ownership at KW West Atlanta.
Oh, Lord, yes. Oh,
think about that, right? Even though you're saving that money for your kids and your grandkids, that means it's freeing up money that you would have invested in your grandkids to do
it is.
Like get into ownership. So in many ways, Merrill, profit share has funded your ownership in KW, which is you doubling down on profit share because, you're not just making agent profit share, you're making owner profit share. And that's the cool thing about you is that you're going to be jacking up both of those at West Atlanta at a high level, right?
And it's really, and because I've already been an owner, so I know what it is like to receive owner distribution regularly. But this is different. This market center is special, and the people that are involved in it are special. And Lakeisha Knight
I love her. She's awesome.
Assembled an amazing group of people because she originally had the opportunity through Mike Ray, and a lot of things were happening in life, and she made the wise decision to defer and bring on Gabby as our OP. And Gabby is so selfless. There was not a big announcement about it. She didn't need to be stroked and all of that. She just saddled up, and we all rallied right behind her. And our investor team, and I probably am the only one in the whole group that knew every single person. Some of them met through this opportunity. So in fact, I am the only person that knew every person.
That's awesome.
So I think it's probably because I'm just the oldest one and the longest in the business. They always are calling me the Godfather. I don't know who started that.
I get that too, man. I'm the godfather of internet recruiting, and I'm like, I'm still a kid.
No, I feel like a kid.
But I'm not a kid anymore. I'm 50 and you're 60, right? I always tell people always say to me, man, you look so young for 50. I'm like, that's called passive income, baby.
And see, I didn't know you were 50. I wouldn't have put you at 50 either.
Well, profit share keeps you young, man. You know what I mean? All right, so Merrill, let's finish strong here. So you got, you're gonna have people. We got people watching right now. You're gonna have people that watch this as a recorded video. If you could impart, one or two things of wisdom to a KW associate that says, okay, look, I want to get purposeful about profit share, or I want to take a greater ownership stake and being a stakeholder at KW. What kind of words of wisdom would you tell them to start on that journey to be purposeful about that?
I think that as with any relationship, there's a reason why you get in it.
Yeah.
And, while it was attractive to, reduce my, the cost of doing business and initially, one of the things that matters to me most about the company is that it's God, then family, then business. And that is what, we're taught. So as you get out of order, you're going to be reminded of that. So I like that first.
Yep.
I like that the company is very much a benevolent company. And so when you think about it, I've been here 20 years. When you're in a relationship, you decide every day to remain in that relationship. Mm-hmm. So while I'm very much a big recruiter, I'm also huge on retention.
Yeah.
So it's one thing to get them, but you have to keep them.
Absolutely.
And while they're there, they have to feel loved and attended to. So if they don't, they're not going to remain, and they're not going to remain productive and happy. So I am interested in the relationships even after they're there just as much as I am interested in them coming. So I don't win just because you came.
Yep.
I win because you choose to be there day after day after day, year after year.
I love that.
So I think that is one thing that you can do, even if you're not at Keller Williams, just in the world, even with your clients. I can't tell you how many clients have gotten a real estate license.
Yep.
It's because of how I have worked with them and been with them. They have contacted me and said, you made me want to be in real estate.
I love that.
That's one thing. There was a movie that Tyler Perry did years ago called Why Did I Get Married? I think that's what it was called. And so you have to answer for yourself, why did I choose this company? And do that maybe annually.
Yeah.
Why do I still choose this company? And if you can't answer those questions and have the same vigor about it that you once have, you may have an issue going on.
I love that. And as I would say it a little bit differently, walk the walk before you talk the talk. Okay. I mean, the truth is, whether it be in real estate or whether it be in, as an attractor to KW. If you're not valid, if you don't believe in what you're talking about, if you don't show up, if you don't, follow the training, the models, the systems, the culture, one, you're not going to be compelled to want to share it with people because you're not having a high level experience at KW. But two, you're not going to even believe in what you're talking about if you're trying to recruit people to KW, if you're not buying into it on a daily basis. And, people always say to me, Merrill, they say, hey, thank you so much for all you do to grow KW. And I'm like, look, I'm just taking ownership of this real estate company I got a huge financial stake in. Maybe you should do the same. Right. And so when you're thinking and acting like a stakeholder and you're committing to mastering what it means to be an agent that people respect, the attraction, or as Kay Evans would say, your attractor factor is just a part of who you are. And, I love the fact that you haven't had to really recruit. You simply attract by being the kind of person that people respect and that they want to be in business with. And so, Merrill, you're the man, dude. I can't thank you enough for taking this much time out of your schedule. I can't wait to see what your profit share becomes as you grow this West Atlanta office. I can't wait to be there to teach in person. I want that room packed because I'm going to blow the roof off of it. But Merrill, man, thanks again for everything you're doing in KW and for being the kind of stakeholder that a lot of us, really want to be. So thanks again.
Let me tell you this: if I get to be named in the lineup of people like Bob Kalinsky, Kay Evans, Sean and Jean Rawls, Jennifer Barnes, Emmerich Peace, all of these people who have taught me more about wealth building and that I have watched over the last 2 decades. That have shaped my life. I live a life that honestly, I had no idea I was going to get to live. And I live in a way that sometimes if I sit and think about it, it will blow my own mind. And it would not have happened if it weren't for some of those people and others that I just named. So if I get to be included in those ranks, then it's been worth it.
Well, I don't think there's a doubt, Merrill, that you're going to make the legend of Merrill Johnson and the ripple effect that you're going to have, not just through KW, but through your community and through, Black America. I mean, you are an icon.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Icon, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying you're Tyler Perry, but you're going to, there are people that are watching you, okay, that are going to say, if Merrill can do it, I can do it. And KW is, the same thing goes for KW. If a guy like Merrill can have multiple ownership opportunities and build a tremendous amount of wealth through profit share, I can do the same thing. So Merrill, I will see you in person soon at your market center. But thank you so much for spending your time today sharing with us. I know you probably
thanks so much.
Changed some lives today. So thanks again, Merrill. We'll talk soon.
All right. Thank you, Aaron. Talk to you.
Buddy.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye.